Hi YouTube. Today we're going to look at a couple of new model Colt revolvers. I've done a couple videos and featured these in there, and I've actually have a video where I scanned over them showing you the similarities and differences in them, but I haven't actually had a discussion about them yet. So today I'm going to be comparing the new model Colt Python to the new model Colt Anaconda. Okay, before we go any further, for all the wing nuts out there, I'm going to show you there's nothing in these guns. They're both empty. We wouldn't want any wing nuts to get upset with us, so we'll follow the rules. All right, so let me get into talking about the differences in them. There are not many. One of the differences in these is the Colt Anaconda is chambered in .44 Magnum. The Colt Python is chambered in .357 Magnum. I believe that covers the differences. So let's get into the similarities. As everybody knows, the Colt Python was known for its very smooth action, the way it works, how smooth the action is on this, how everything just works smooth and all that, and the very smooth trigger pull and all that. Well, in the new ones, the Anaconda has the exact same action as the Colt Python. It works just as smooth, the trigger pull is just as smooth and everything, and it is actually a larger version of the Colt Python. The action is identical in them. One of the things that people always complained about the Colt Python when it came out in 1955 was they didn't make it in .44 Magnum. It came out the same year that the Model 29 Smith & Wesson came out, which was a .44 Magnum, and everybody wanted this gun to be offered in .44 Magnum, and Colt never did it. Well, now they have. This gun is a .44 Magnum Colt Python, if you will. It's just called a Colt Anaconda, which is very fitting since it's the biggest snake. Now, I can go through a couple of the negatives for the new Colt revolvers, and I'm going to tell you folks, there aren't many of them. There's not too much negative to say about these things, but if you were going to say something negative about it, you could start off with the fact that they put serial number and a barcode right on the side of the frame. I see that as a negative. I think that they could have figured out a better place to put serial number and a barcode instead of pasting it right on the side. But hey, it's better than read instruction manual before using. Same thing with this one. Serial number, barcode right on the side. But that's all you're going to see negative. I mean, the positives way outweigh the negatives. The second thing I'm going to tell you is both of these firearms, most of the grips interchange on them, the sights interchange, stuff like that, because it's basically the same action, just a little bit bigger frame, and the action pieces are bigger. But the biggest negative, and one of the only deal-breaking negatives to these revolvers, is this sight right here. This is what comes on them from the factory, and this thing is terrible. If you take this sight, the blade will sit there and wiggle back and forth. It takes a microscopic Allen key to adjust this thing. An Allen key that if anybody happened to own it, they would lose it. And no, you don't get one with it when you buy the gun. You have to come up with that on your own. And this thing's very cheaply made, and inside the channel of the revolver, it fits so loose that the sight actually sits there and moves around in it. Now, there's a fix to that. Let me show you this. You can order these sights from Wilson Combat. I think they're $125, and this fixes everything. The only mechanical problem to these guns, this fixes it, and it's 125 bucks. And I put one on both of them. They're made by Wilson Combat. They have a true click adjustment for windage and elevation. It's an actual click to adjust, and it just fixes all the problems. There's no movement inside here. That blade is actually click adjusted instead of whatever that is that Colt tried to do with this little thing right here. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see the difference. And it's got a better sight picture. If you look at the sight picture, it's got serrated sides and edges to the sight, and you can see it a lot better. You can pick the sight up a lot better than you could the factory one. But that makes all the difference in the world. $125 fixes the only major issue to this gun. Now, what these things cost is an absolute bargain. And I know there's going to be people out there that say they're overpriced, but if you take a look at these guns, there's nothing else on the market today that actually looks this good, works this smooth, and performs this well. This thing is an absolute masterpiece. Both of them. They're absolute masterpieces, and Colt knocked these out of the park. Now, both of these guns, these are my personal guns. Both these, the Python came with like walnut, laminate, checkered grips. They were similar to what came on the original Colt Python, but not exactly. And the Anaconda came with rubber grips, which is what came on the original Anaconda. I've changed both of these out to give them a little spice. These are synthetic ivory grips that I bought from a company out west. These are Colt Python Elite grips. They're made by Altamont, and I added a little bit of something to them to make them mine. But both grips will interchange back and forth, and I like to have the finger grooves. They just fit my hand a lot better when you're shooting them and all that. But these guns are the action work and everything. There's nothing done to them. All you have to do is buy these guns and go shoot them. You don't have to do any lock work, any action work. You're not going to get a finer trigger pull out of a factory built revolver today. You're not going to do it. And the workmanship that goes into these things is incredible. The attention to detail they pay. There's no sharp edges or anything on either one of these. Everything's rounded off, smooth. Everything fits together like a glove. It's remarkable what technology's done. The Anaconda is drilled and tapped on the top in case you ever wanted to add some kind of scope or optic to it. The Python's not. Not many people put scopes or anything on these anyway, but the Python is not. It's not drilled and tapped. But a lot of people hunt with 44 Magnum revolvers, and that would make a good option if that's what you want to do. But I'm telling you folks, these new Colt revolvers, there's a lot of people that don't like them because they're traditionalists and they don't want to admit that technology has caught up with old school hand fitting. But it has. I mean, it's just the reality of it. If these guns were hand fit and put together like the old Colt Python was in the 50s and 60s and 70s, they would cost $4,000 and nobody would buy them. If you have a company like Wilson Combat or Nighthawk Customs, those guns are all hand fit and put together by a skilled gunsmith, and they cost $4,000 plus, and they don't sell as many of them as Colt does. That's their specialty, that's their niche. That's not Colt's niche. They produce a very, very good revolver at a very fair price, and the way they figured out how to do that is these are all built on CNC machines. No hand fitting required. The machines are always exact. They make all the parts, and all they have to do is have somebody assemble them and put them together. It's kind of like a Gucci Glock, or puts together a Glock. Well, maybe a little bit more complicated, but folks, if you're in the market to buy a revolver, and you shopped around and you've seen the prices of them, you might want to take a look at these. These things are awesome. I mean, you just can't ask. This is the most bang for the buck, in my opinion, that you can get. And if you've always wanted a Colt revolver and you've seen the crazy prices that the older ones command these days, maybe you ought to take a look at these, because in some cases, in most cases, I'm going to tell you, these are actually better revolvers. They work better, they just function better, and all that. I'm not going to do a comparison in this video. I've done those. If you want to check out the other videos, I have Anaconda versus Anaconda, Python versus Python. I have old Python versus old Anaconda. I just haven't done a video where I compared the new Anaconda to the new Python, and they are pretty much identical. The only difference is the calibers. This is the Colt Python action, only bigger. There's no difference, and these guns are incredible. Both of them, some of the improvements they made, they both have recessed crown barrels. As you can see, they both have easy changed front sights. You just use an Allen key, you change it right up here. Both of them, I mean, I can't say enough good things about them. They just work like they should, and they're just put together so good. The lock work on them, when you pull this trigger, I'm holding it down, you cannot move that cylinder at all on either one of them. Both of them are identical. Can't move it. Both of them have serrated hammers on top. Look at them side by side. It's just awesome. I can't say enough good things about them. If you're in the mood or in the market for a revolver, this might be one to look at. Either one of them, and they both have iconic names that everybody knows. The Colt Python is probably the most iconic revolver ever made, and the Colt Anaconda has a great reputation for its name. Now, I'm not going to say that it has a great reputation for being a great revolver, because you can check out my other video and what I think about the older vintage Colt Anacondas. I used to have one, and I no longer have one, and I don't get rid of firearms, if that tells you anything. But anyway, folks, I'm gonna cut this one off today. I just want to show you the differences and the similarities in the Colt Python and the Colt Anaconda. Basically, you're getting the same gun, only one of them is 44 Magnum and one of them is 357 Magnum. You folks have a great day. If you have any questions on either one of these guns, feel free to ask. I will be more than happy to answer if I know the answer. If I don't know the answer, I'm just going to tell you I don't know the answer. But I've had these for a little while now. I'm pretty familiar with them, and I'm very happy with both of them. There's no regrets in purchasing these two guns. There's no negative that would make me say don't buy those guns. You folks have a great day, and thank you for watching my video.